Every smile hides a calculation, and every display of warmth is an invitation to be used. Those who show their emotions too openly become predictable, and the predictable are always the easiest to control. Centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli stripped away illusions and revealed the brutal mechanics of power. Fear lasts longer than love, and respect is built on cold strategy, not kindness. His lessons have shaped leaders and manipulators for generations, and they remain just as lethal today. In this video, 7 Machiavellian principles expose how to turn coldness into protection, silence into a weapon, and reputation into armor. By the end, the path will be clear: remain warm and predictable, or step into the dangerous advantage of being cold. Law 1. Weakening warmth. Warmth is praised in words but punished in practice. Those who give too freely reveal exactly where they can be struck. Emotions on display become signals, and signals are invitations. A soft heart makes decision-making transparent, and transparent people are the easiest to exploit. The world does not reward openness, it maps it, memorizes it, and turns it into leverage. Coldness, on the other hand, creates shadows. The unreadable cannot be anticipated, and what cannot be anticipated cannot be controlled. Mystery forces caution, unpredictability builds respect, and distance commands fear. Human nature bends not to what it fully understands, but to what it cannot quite grasp. That is why those who remain unreadable hold power, because every unanswered question is a silent weapon. Machiavelli warned that the one who empowers others at his own expense is destined for ruin. Each uncalculated yes, each favor granted without thought, each confession of weakness is a gift to someone who will use it later. Warmth does not make a person loved, it makes them convenient. And convenience, once no longer needed, is discarded without hesitation. The law is clear: kindness without calculation becomes currency for others to spend. The generous are drained, the open are manipulated, the useful are consumed. Coldness protects because it hides intent. Coldness shields because it resists exposure. Coldness ensures that interactions unfold on your terms, not theirs. Every exchange tilts the balance of power. Every smile, every concession, every soft word either strengthens your position or weakens it. And in this arena, there is no neutral ground. Warmth invites exploitation. Coldness commands respect. Law 2. Cold calculation. Most people are enslaved by reaction. Misfortune strikes, and their first words are always the same: why me? Betrayal becomes tragedy. Failure becomes humiliation. Heartbreak becomes paralysis. Their lives are dictated not by choice but by reflex, by the automatic pull of wounded emotion. The cold thinker interprets differently. Betrayal is not devastation, it is intelligence gathering. Failure is not defeat, it is instruction. Pain is not injustice, it is tuition. Each wound becomes a record of human behavior, a map of how people reveal themselves when masks fall. Where others drown in grief, the cold strategist quietly collects data. Warm thinking reacts, cold thinking calculates. Warm thinking clings to comfort, desperate for relief. Cold thinking hunts for advantage, searching for leverage hidden inside every loss. Warm thinking sees insult, cold thinking sees insecurity. Warm thinking feels heartbreak, cold thinking registers the cost of vulnerability and marks the lesson. This shift, from reflex to calculation, turns every setback into a weapon. Machiavelli observed that the wise act immediately while the foolish delay. The cold strategist lives by this rule. Anger is not wasted in outbursts, it is stored as silent fuel. Disrespect is not met with arguments, it is recorded as ammunition. Lies are not confronted in the moment, they are allowed to multiply until proof is undeniable. In this way, chaos is not endured, it is transformed into advantage. The law is absolute. Emotional energy is too costly to waste. It must be hoarded for moves that alter outcomes. The cold thinker never spends rage and shouting, never wastes grief and self-pity, never squanders disappointment and paralysis. Instead, each betrayal becomes intelligence. Each humiliation becomes resilience. Each failure becomes evolution. And so the cold adapt faster, rise quicker, and remain several steps ahead of those still chained to their emotions. They turn life's blows into blueprints, and while others remain trapped in reaction, the strategist writes the script. Law 3. Emotional treachery. Emotions are not allies in the pursuit of power, they are remnants of primitive survival instincts. They evolved to keep early humans alive against predators and hunger, not to secure influence in politics, business, or strategy. In the modern world, they function as liabilities. Every impulsive decision driven by fear, guilt, or desire shifts control into someone else's hands. Emotions distort judgment. They push focus toward what feels safe rather than what achieves results. They whisper to avoid discomfort, even when discomfort is the only path to growth. They justify staying in toxic relationships, repeating failed investments, or forgiving proven betrayers. What emotions promise is comfort. What they deliver is weakness. Results, however, never lie. They are indifferent to hope, blind to excuses, and unmoved by fairness. They reveal only the outcome, success or failure, gain or loss. Cold minds therefore place their trust not in how they feel, but in what the evidence shows. When the pattern is disrespect, results demand withdrawal. When the pattern is failure, results demand recalibration. Machiavelli observed that men are driven either by love or by fear, and fear proves far more reliable. Love is fragile, staged, or conditional, fear is enduring. Fear secures order where affection fades. The principle, then, is ruthless in its clarity. Emotions must serve strategy, never dictate it. Every feeling must be tested with a question. Does this bring me closer to my goal, or does it bind me to weakness? If the answer is weakness, the emotion is discarded. Cold minds cut through illusion. Warm hearts are consumed by it. Law 4. Silent pressure. Silence is one of the most underestimated forms of power. Most people fear it. They rush to fill every pause with chatter, excuses, or justification. In doing so, they reveal insecurity and cede the advantage. The ability to remain silent while others unravel is not passivity, it is pressure. Strategic silence creates discomfort, and discomfort forces disclosure. Negotiators speak too quickly to escape the weight of a pause, exposing their position or making unnecessary concessions. Manipulators backtrack when their pleas are met not with argument but with quiet resistance. In the hands of the cold strategist, silence becomes a battlefield where words are weapons saved for the decisive strike. Yet silence must not be confused with hesitation. Anxious silence is weakness, born of fear and indecision. Strategic silence is deliberate, chosen to conceal intent and invite mistakes. It masks thoughts, disguises motives, and gives space for others to betray themselves. As Machiavelli warned, what cannot be won by force is often won through deception, and silence is deception perfected. The discipline lies in enduring tension longer than anyone else can. Holding the pause before answering a question. Refusing to rush when pressured to decide. Allowing unreasonable demands to echo unanswered until they collapse under their own absurdity. Silence transforms presence into mystery, and mystery into dominance. The principle is absolute, words should never be cheap. When silence is mastered, every spoken phrase lands with weight, every refusal cuts deeper, and every pause commands more than endless explanation ever could. Law 5. Human levers. Power is never luck, inheritance, or a gift. Power is calculation. And the formula is mercilessly simple: understand human nature faster than anyone else, then use that understanding to predict and shape behavior. Every person moves under two forces, fear and desire. Fear of loss, of pain, of exposure, of being forgotten. Desire for gain, for pleasure, for recognition, for security. These drives do not change, only their disguises shift. Once a person's deepest fear and strongest desire are uncovered, control begins. The one who brags about wealth secretly fears poverty. The one who flaunts friendships fears isolation. The one who constantly insists on intelligence doubts the strength of their own mind. Boasts are not strength, they are signals, and signals betray truth. The cold strategist listens more to what is revealed unconsciously than to what is declared loudly. Machiavelli warned that success requires conduct to shift with the times. No single mask deceives everyone, and no single tactic bends every will. Some yield when given reassurance. Others need recognition to feed their ego. Still others surrender when dangled an opportunity that stirs their greed. Strategy adapts because control depends not on rigid methods, but on flexibility aligned to hidden drives. This is not manipulation, it is fluency in the private language of human weakness. The cold mind wastes no time wishing people were better, nobler, or stronger. It accepts them exactly as they are and bends those flaws toward its own advantage. This acceptance is not compassion, it is domination. To see people without illusion is to hold the levers of their behavior in your hands. And once those levers are identified, every action, every choice, every outcome can be guided with precision. The law is clear: power belongs to those who read beneath the mask, who see the strings behind the gestures, who do not fight human nature but exploit it. Fear and desire are the oldest currencies of control, and those who master them need little else. Law 6, the shadowed name. Reputation is the shadow that walks into the room before its owner. It speaks when the person is absent. It dictates whether others approach with respect or with contempt, whether they cross boundaries carefully or recklessly. Reputation is not built on being liked. It is built on being respected, and respect is born of consequences. A cold reputation ensures battles end before they begin. The presence of consequences makes explanation unnecessary. When people already believe crossing a line will cost them dearly, they think twice before attempting it. The loud and aggressive mistake noise for strength, but true power is quiet. It does not announce itself. It is felt in the hesitation of others, in the weight of unspoken caution. The most dangerous figure in a room is not the loudest voice but the one who seems almost invisible until underestimated. Their silence is not absence, it is calculation. They conserve energy, they choose their moments carefully, and when action finally comes, it is precise and devastating. Machiavelli observed that the measure of a ruler's intelligence is revealed in the quality of those around him. Association shapes reputation as much as action does. Surrounding oneself with the weak projects weakness. Surrounding oneself with mediocrity projects mediocrity. But aligning with those who command respect multiplies one's own. Reputation is reflection, and reflection either amplifies or diminishes. A powerful reputation unsettles the average. Excellence exposes mediocrity. Discipline exposes laziness, and consistency exposes unreliability. Standards themselves become intimidation. In this way, a cold reputation serves as armor, protecting without effort, striking without noise, warning without a word. Law 7, the dominant frame. The highest form of control is not to win an argument, but to decide what the argument is about. Most people spend their lives reacting to the agendas of others. A topic is raised and they respond. A question is asked and they answer. Terms are set and they accept them. This is weakness disguised as dialogue. It is surrender before the first move has even been played. Cold minds refuse that position. They do not react to the frame of others, they impose their own. Instead of being pulled into complaints, they shift the focus to solutions. Instead of defending against accusations, they redefine the discussion entirely. Instead of rushing to meet someone else's urgency, they slow the pace and set their own rhythm. The result is always the same: control of the outcome follows control of the frame. Machiavelli observed that the wise act at once while the fool delays. The wise set the frame immediately, while the fool wastes his life inside boundaries drawn by someone else. Coldness grants distance, and distance grants vision. From above, the entire game becomes visible: the hidden motives, the emotional traps, the subtle pushes meant to force reaction. Once seen clearly, the choice is simple: play by those rules, or discard them and establish new ones. Frame control reaches beyond single conversations. It shapes negotiations, relationships, and conflicts alike. A cold strategist never bargains from the offer placed in front of him. He redefines the discussion around value and outcomes. He does not chase those who withdraw, he builds presence that pulls them back. He does not drown in emotional drama, he stays anchored in facts and solutions. This law is brutal in its simplicity: the one who sets the frame dictates the game. Those who fail to grasp it live forever inside cages built by others. Those who master it bend every interaction, every relationship, every narrative to their advantage. The rules of engagement are yours to decide. And if the game on the table does not serve you, the cold mind does not argue, it replaces the game entirely. Finally, becoming dangerously cold. The 7 laws have been revealed, but knowledge alone is not transformation. To understand them in theory is only the first step, to embody them is the true threshold. Coldness cannot remain an idea in the mind, it must become the core of identity. The weak admire principles yet live unchanged. The strong absorb them until every thought, every word, every action reflects their weight. Dangerous coldness is not the absence of feeling, nor the embrace of cruelty. It is not the hollow mask of indifference. True coldness is precision. It is mastery over one's own impulses, a discipline that allows emotion to serve rather than to rule. It is strategic communication, words sharpened to strike only where necessary. It is calculated risk, the courage to make moves that others fear because the outcome has already been measured. When coldness is embodied, silence ceases to be emptiness, it becomes pressure. A pause turns into a question mark in the minds of others, a threat without violence, an invisible weight. Absence itself becomes a presence, leaving uncertainty in every room not entered, sparking unease and speculation. Unpredictability grows into its own form of power. Domination no longer requires noise or confrontation. Authority radiates from composure, competence, and control. People defer to the one whose movements are deliberate, whose confidence is unshakable, whose reputation precedes them like armor. This influence is not begged for, not demanded, it is yielded by others as instinctively as prey yields to predator. The path to such transformation is long and merciless. Every day requires the rejection of reaction in favor of calculation. Every interaction requires the choice of strategy over impulse. Every challenge demands growth purchased at the expense of comfort. Yet those who walk this path discover a reality that most never even glimpse, the game of power played at a level invisible to the ordinary mind. History does not remember those who lived kindly. It remembers those who bent reality to their will. Every empire, every dynasty, every enduring legacy was built not on warmth, but on calculation. The dangerously cold understand that people are moved not by fairness or feeling, but by what touches their own survival, their own gain, their own fear. That is the hidden lever of human nature, and once you pull it, everything shifts. Coldness transforms presence into power. A pause becomes pressure. A reputation becomes armor. An absence becomes a warning. And every move, measured and deliberate, forces the world to adjust around you. This is the silent architecture of dominance, not noise, not chaos, but design. The choice before you is absolute. Remain warm, predictable, and disposable, or step into a different order of existence, where unpredictability shields you, silence serves you, and strategy defines you. Those who take this path do not beg for space in the world. They redesign the world around them. If you are ready to move beyond theory into mastery, then this is where the real journey begins. Continue with the playlist Machiavelli on Power as Design, and see how these laws interlock into a complete system, one used for centuries by rulers, leaders, and strategists who refuse to play the game by anyone else's rules. The world belongs to those who design power. The world belongs to the dangerously cold.